fact, H-bomb countermeasures here in San Francisco. So we'll start with the challenge thereof under which our planet came to an end. That's where there was a 5 megaton H-bomb in that corner box over there, as well as a 200 megaton H-bomb. As I described before, this is how I saved the Emperor, Empress, and Princess of China, as well as ridding us of Satan's wrath upon all. So, in that challenge, I went over there and did, with my untested fire suit, a 200 megaton blast after being vaporized in a 5 megaton blast and reappearing on the corner. So that's the first one I did, where I end up, in a sense, before the first 5 megaton, and faced the second one that came down before a 200 megaton. So with my untested fire suit, I put that one out, as well as over here on this corner, the oscillating H-bomb paradox. Those two boxes there, right? So that caused an oscillation there of an H-bomb there, as well as we have vast number of H-bombs going down here, right? And which end up in oscillatory state, especially there at Geary and Leavenworth. Then, as well as here in the box, here in San Francisco, was another 10 megaton warhead that they used for a vast number of years of detonation. Which there, after a vast amount of time and tutelage, I was able to learn to put out the bomb with just my mind. Alright. So with that, we also have a 10 megaton warhead that was detonated over London at 7,000 feet, of which, through various assorted methodologies, which we'll go into in Scientific American in great detail, of how I pulled the whole world out from underneath that 100 megaton bomb that lit everything on fire from London to West Berlin. Destroyed almost all of Europe with 2 billion dead. Again, in order to make sure that that was hidden, they thought that they would be able to, I was there and they would have destroyed me, and I wasn't. So when they aimed it there, they thought you could play in Europe for the rest of their existence. In fact, the detonation that found that I wasn't there, and they missed me. So in the retaliatory there, they went and sent a nuclear weapon here at San Francisco in various assorted fashions throughout the wars of Armageddon to the final conflict, final judgment, and thereof of the apocalypse and doomsday here, because what I did, and what I did do is the bomb, the plutonium reactor, which sits out on Polk Street, stayed off, and that provides all the plutonium for Armageddon. And the building thereof, of all of its mechanisms and more, so that in my presence, they just fall to pieces because there was no energy made. There's no energy made for the building of it and the continuance of the fast breeder reactor. So by keeping that reactor off, I was able to provide, by going forward in time, going backward in time, of a vast number of paradoxical H-bombs, one before the other and before the other, in which I went forward in time through, with the absence thereof of that plutonium, was able to traverse them right up to the minimum safe distance, in which I achieved in that there an H-bomb being dropped here on San Francisco, and I got its minimum safe distance thereof, and when the blast hit, I had 800 reporters filming and watching the plane come out of a portal, drop the bomb, go back in the portal, and me handling it all from there. So, in there, we rode on a shockwave at near light speed, a quarter of the way around the universe, in avoidance of that, and having me as final conflict, final judgment, the closest you're going to get to that H-bomb here in San Francisco. And I had that all documented on by 800 reporters here in San Francisco. So I want to make sure everyone knows, by that reactor staying on, all of Armageddon doesn't happen. I have to be vigilant from that point on to make sure it stays on. And there I end up being heir to the throne of the netherworld, which will be another subject I will tolerate. So please understand that I'm here with almost 6 legions of men, making sure that reactor, and they're taking me seriously, never goes live, and therefore Armageddon unhappens. So with that, I said to them, as long as you keep that reactor off, I'll do everything else, just one man, in which you keep an eye on all of this. Well, So that's what I did, putting out the fires of Armageddon while traversing down into the hole of Armageddon and out of the hole of Armageddon, which without my existence kept going, and with my existence came back. And that's there on the corner of the Western St. Francis by me pushing with all of my might the collapsing of the Arcana into a black hole due to that collision there of the highest magnitude in the universe. So this is my presentation in about what's going on in San Francisco, and after that there of Armageddon, and then what I changed, i.e. once it's happened, then I can change it. I had to let it happen, sit it out, last number of times, where I said, fuck this, I'm going to go in there and stop. So here it is. Protect and stay here. The wars of Armageddon and the final deaths.